Hello. Um, it is the beginning of August and it is very, very hot. I don't know how it is where you are, but where I am, it's absolutely horrible. And I've been having all kinds of issues, to be very honest. Hi, Karen. I almost didn't get online today because I've been doing a lot of gardening. And through all the gardening I've been doing, something got in my eye, and I got a sty. If you look, my left eye is a little bit closed because my eyelid is a little bit swollen. But for any of you who are gardening and might wonder what the heck is she doing so much in the garden that she keeps needing to garden, well, number one, besides all the growth we had from the rains and everything, I'm actually battling some trumpet vines. And if you ever grew trumpet vines on your property, you know how hard they are to eradicate. And unfortunately, they pretty much took over both sides of my house on the fences and everything. And that is one. And the second is that because of the heat, I have to do everything early in the morning before it gets too hot. And even so, it still kind of puts me off for the day. It's getting harder and harder. But anyway, so hi, Shandy. What I wanted to talk to you about, first of all, let me go through the news on what you can find. You know that I am affiliated with Polyclay Play, and I just want to tell you what is new. In case you didn't know, and let me get number one, let me get the link. There we go. Sorry, where am I? I lost my... Hi, Arlena. Hi, Francis. So this is the Polyclay Play link. And if you watched the tutorial, the live tutorial I did a couple weeks ago with the poppy flower, right here you have the mold, not the mold, the veiner that works so great with poppies. And it's not just veiner, it's also with cutters. So I mean, you have the veiners, and then she separately has the cutters. But the other thing that I wanted to show you is that besides all these pretty flower molds, and we're gonna do something with those pretty flower molds, I want to get this because this is new and it's so awesome, and I have some ideas about it. But in case you didn't notice, right now Polyclay Play has all kinds of clay, and that means Cernit, Fimo, Kato, Pardo, and of course the Primo and Souffle. And she got some extra new things. Now getting back to, hold on, I forgot to put this on. So yeah, so you have Cernit, Fimo, Kato, even Makin's Air Dry. Metal Clay, she doesn't have it yet, but she should bring it soon. Pardo and Primo, including the Souffle line. Now to get further. Spasiba, Sergey. Hi, Karen. So, what I wanted to talk to you about, number one, let's go through the whole pep talk first, and then we'll go back to um, more polymer clay and resin and stuff. And don't forget, tomorrow we are going to do some UV resin things. I'll show you a few tips and tricks with UV resin to get awesome cabochons. But what I wanted to talk to you about again, because I just keep getting more and more messages about it, and I've been video chatting with quite a number of people about it, is the creativity block due to not necessarily depression, because in a lot of cases it's not really true depression, but because of the anxiety of the world we live in. And I personally am going through it quite a bit, and I can assure you I am not depressed. On the contrary, I'm quite happy, generally speaking, in my life, because I learned from a quite early age to be happy with what I have, to enjoy what I have. And even if I have health issues and everything, I can still function, I can still enjoy a lot of things. But we have here quite a few things that definitely affect us. One of them, obviously, is the financial strain on everybody, because prices are going up. Because of the supply chain, because of all kinds of issues globally, inflation is a reality for a lot of the countries on earth. And I am stressed because back in the 90s, when I was still living in Romania, because I came to the United States in 1999, but back in the 90s, we experienced an exceptionally, I mean, it was a hyperinflation, to the point that everybody was in a hurry. If you had to do any kind of grocery shopping, you'd try to do it as early in the morning as possible, because by afternoon and evening the prices would go up. I mean, that is some level of inflation, trust me. So I know exactly what inflation can mean, and I'm not going to comment on whose fault is it, and if these people would have done this and these people wouldn't have done this and all that, because even if we try to find a solution, number one, us here in a chat room on YouTube are not going to do anything. And number two, even if a solution is found, it's going to take a lot of time to implement it. So our only option is to deal with it. And how can you deal with it? As I talked about what anxiety and depression and all these things can bring, the main problem and the main issue is that there are things that are out of your control. And whenever you cannot control something, that is when your anxiety level goes through the roof. That is when you feel scared. That is when you start feeling depressed and all that. So, your best bet, number one, your best bet is to try and, first of all, take control of what contributes to your level of stress. And from this point of view, what contributes to your level of stress, there are two things. One of them is the practical one. You have to go through your spending habits and see what exactly you can cut out. Yes, exactly. And I know that for some of us it is, and I put myself in that category, being on disability and living on disability. And I know you're gonna say, yeah, but you have sponsors. Believe me, it's not that big of a of an amount, because also you have to think that my sponsors are going through the same thing too. So even if you have, for some of us, it's very hard to cut out because some of them might be essentials. Yay! There we go. We had a dumbass spammer. So, you have to think what you can do, what you can cut out of your spending, or find solutions to get the same thing as close as possible without spending so much money. To give you an example, of course, being pretty much stuck in the house, your only options are to, for amusement and stuff, would be, one of the only options would be to watch TV, to watch movies. Yeah, but all these cost, right? So, my personal solution, I preferred to, instead of, having all kinds of cable and subscriptions to all kinds of streaming channels, what I preferred to do was to just spend on good speed internet. And then I have an Amazon Prime, obviously, so that Amazon Prime gives me a whole bunch of options. With my internet, I also get for free HBO Max, and then there's a lot of apps that are free with ads. So I don't have to spend any extra. The only thing that I spend practically is on a good internet connection. I calculated how much I talk on the phone a month, and I realized that I was paying about $40 too much, because I don't do lives while being outside of the house, and when I'm inside the house I can just use the Wi-Fi. So no reason to pay for an unlimited data plan. So I cut from there. And yeah, I did spend a little bit initially. I changed all the light bulbs in my house with the LED ones, but I could notice my electric bill going down, and especially in this heat, it's quite an important thing. I mean, it just requires, some things just require a little bit of awareness on what you're doing. The other thing that contributes from this point of view is, and talking about what you're watching on TV and on the internet and everything, is there are certain sources who will increase your level of anxiety. And I did notice among my virtual friends, the people who I talk to a lot and chat and video chat and stuff, that they have the tendency to go through the doom and gloom kind of hypes and all kinds of conspiracy theories, and don't get me wrong, I do not blame anybody for doing that, because it is human nature. When we are scared of something, of course we all are afraid of the unknown and what is beyond our control, but we will try to find an explanation for what is going on. And these type of sites or YouTube channels or forums or whatever, number one, they are echo chambers. What's an echo chamber? It's a place, on a virtual place, or sometimes even a physical place, but there haven't been much in-person gatherings lately, where everybody has the same opinion, and when they discuss, they just want to hear their opinion reinforced. And but besides the echo chamber thing, and again, this wanting to hear your opinion reinforced by others, is also coming from the psychological need for assurance, for an explanation, and so on and so forth. But it also has a different purpose, and that is, humans are social beings, and especially for the ones of us who are disabled, have a chronic condition, or are elderly, we have been way more isolated, and it's this need to belong to a group. So it fulfills another quite basic instinct. Unfortunately, these kind of things can contribute a lot to your anxiety. And one of the things that is kind of like a snowball effect is that anxiety and depression will cause sleep disturbances. But sleep disturbances will cause anxiety and depression. So the more you get yourself entangled with this kind of stuff, the worse it will be for you from your mental health. So try to identify exactly what is it that makes you feel more anxious and more down and more, and that is quite easy to figure out, even if, and don't get me wrong, I know it can become addictive. It can become your little place where you feel that you belong and you hear everything that you want to hear, but it's not good for you. And it's easy to figure out what it is, the same as it is, it's the thing that they are like energy vampires, and there are some people that after you talk to them, you feel drained. The same will be that you feel anxious after visiting certain YouTube channels, after being in certain um, online groups or forums or stuff. While you are there, you feel good, but after that, you'll have trouble sleeping, you'll have all kinds of issues. So try to identify these stressors as well and try to avoid them. Now, what can you do? Because you will still want some type of belonging, some type of, again, as I was yeah, you kind of need to stop going where you don't where you notice that, or even if, let's say, not only that, but there's another phenomena when you're expecting an echo chamber and you go on a site where there are completely opposite views and you feel like you're going to have a stroke. You get so pissed that how can people can be so stupid. So avoid all that. Instead, try something that makes you grow. And I was saying before that to make you get out of it, you need to bring some type of control in your life. And it doesn't have to be control over your financial issues. It doesn't have to be control over your health. You have to do something that's either creation or nurturing. And the thing that you can do also is about yourself, something that would better yourself. To be honest, one of the things that I started, because as I said, I'm going through that too. I'm not some kind of superhero or superwoman that, oh my God, I never experienced it. No, I do. But the main thing is to acknowledge that you do have this tendency, to acknowledge, to figure out what's wrong, and to figure out what can be done. So lately I started learning hieroglyphs. Is it going to help me in any way, shape, or form? No. I'm not gonna go to Egypt and get a degree in archaeology or Egyptology and start. No, it's just something that I find fun. And again, try creation, try nurturing. And the other thing that is very, very, very important, and I know it's a little bit hard to do when you're in a depressed state, especially, is cleanliness and order. Because I cannot even begin to tell you. Yeah, and when you're talking about gardening, you can just do indoor gardening. All you need is a few pots. There are so many things that can be grown indoors, and so many things that can be grown from seed. And when you grow stuff from seed, it is way more satisfying than when you buy a plant already grown. Because that's my main thing. I had to stop gardening because I had that beautiful cottage garden in my backyard, but I had to stop because I physically couldn't do it anymore. But what I was talking about, the taking control, one of the things that helps a lot, and it's, as I was saying, it's very difficult to do when you're depressed, is cleanliness and order. It's almost unbelievable what an effect it has on the mind and on your well-being when your living space is clean and in order. And when you're already depressed and you already have issues, one of the symptoms of depression actually is that people do not pay attention anymore to their own hygiene and to their environment, and they stop. And this is where you have to work. Even if you do one thing a day, just try to do one thing a day, not more. But the other thing is that once you get into the routine of doing one thing a day, add another one. Do not stay in the, oh, I did one thing, let me feel happy and I'll be fine about it. Because that is not going to bring you far. You need to keep adding until you get on a better um, frame of mind. But talking about creation and nurturing, for some of us, the polymer clay, the whole polymer clay slash resin thing, and this is the truth, has become almost impossible because of the financial issue. And there are a lot of things that you can still create virtually. You can still make art, and I showed before how to do. And some people are, well, you're going just cutting the branch under your feet. Well, you know what? I said from the beginning I didn't make this channel for money. I made this channel to connect and help others and share what I know. So there's a lot of artwork that you can create in the virtual. Like I was saying before, and I think I have at least one tutorial on that. There's image processing software that is free and it's called GIMP. That is pretty much as good as Adobe Photoshop, but you don't have to pay anything. It's free to download and it's free to do. And there's a lot of things that you can do with it. And let me see if I still have, because sometimes I am doing artwork with that. Let me see if I still have anything here. Yes, I still do have some. So let me show you. And of course you will not have the same, you'll have to learn, you will not have the same, but see, this is done in GIMP. It's a full, and I made it to look like an oil painting, but this is done in GIMP. And there's all kinds of other stuff that you can do. So that would be one of the ways that you can still create. And there are many others. There's a lot of other things that you can do. You can start a small channel yourself. You can start vlogging every day. And there are quite a bit of vlogs, as long as you don't start with expectations of fame and financial success, just with connecting with other people and sharing what you go through. Hold on, let me give you the link. And there you go. And I had to give you the I was showing how to use GIMP in order to, if you don't have very good camera, very good camera and stuff, and you want to sell stuff online, how to enhance your photos. And this is the tutorial I made. And as I was saying, there's a lot of things that you can do, and you can get in contact with people. Uh, you can start watching documentaries. One of the things, again, it's about being stuck in our homes. You can walk. Yes, you can walk. Uh, but honestly, I used to walk. I used to love to walk. But honestly, lately, you can call me paranoid, but I am not very eager to walk because of all the crazy shootings we've had here in the US, and especially because of all the drive-by shootings that are completely irrational and not motivated by anything except that people are crazy. So yeah. The one that I recommend as video recorder is actually what I'm using, and it's helpful not just to record but also to do lives. And let me give you the link to that one too. It may be a little bit of a learning curve if you've never watched something like this, or if you've never used something like this, but it's not that bad. Karen, meditation music, yes, but what I'm talking about is, hi Janine, what I'm talking about is something that would make you active, because the meditation and the music, they are more or less on the relaxing side, and that is on the something that makes you more prone to drift, kind of let it be. And yeah, I do recommend for people to meditate and to relax and all that, but you need to do a little bit more than that, because meditation and music do not constitute being in control so much. Especially, let's be very honest about meditation. Most people do not know how to meditate. I've had so many, I was teaching meditation at one point, and I've had so many people telling me, oh, I don't need all these classes, because there are some classes, there are some very good teachers, and including on YouTube out there. I don't need somebody to teach me how to meditate, because I know how to meditate. I just sit there, I close my eyes, and I meditate on things, which is the complete opposite of what meditation is about. So meditation might not be a good thing unless you are talking about it as a stress relief, relaxation, and once a day, maybe even twice a day, but you need to do more than that. And the whole, of course, you can talk to your medical provider and get medicines for it, but the thing that you have to keep in mind is, what is your final goal? Because if your final goal is to just not have to think about what's going on anymore, and feel content even if things are not going too good, when you really do not need antidepressant medication, you'll just spend your life in a sleeping 3/4 of the day, but being content and not thinking about things. I'm not saying that people do not need antidepressant medication, or a lot of people do need antidepressant medication. For a lot of people, it is very hard to to deal with all these things. Some people have chemical imbalances in the brain. So don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating not taking antidepressant medication if you need it. But unfortunately, we are in a consumerist society, and doctors a lot of times prescribe antidepressant medication even if their patients don't really need that. So if you want to talk to your medical professional, make sure that you get a proper assessment for depression, because there are several degrees of depression, and not all depressions are true depressions. So if you want to actually live, not just exist, you kind of need to get off your butt and do something. And see, even that statement for some of us can be hard, especially as we age. We feel, even without any health conditions, we feel more and more tired. So it all depends on what type of personality you are, but essentially there are some things that you can do. That's the main point of what I'm trying to say here. Will you be able to get back to your creativity as before? You might, or you might not. Or you might not. You might find another avenue. You might find a different type of creativity. You might find a different type of echo chamber, because let's put on one side an echo chamber that's about all kinds of conspiracies, theories, and who's at fault for what's going on in the world right now, and another type of echo chamber with people who are interested to and are studying and are trying to learn more about plants in the Amazon. How do you think your psyche will feel after being an hour in one of these echo chambers and after being an hour in the other echo chamber? And that's the other thing that I was trying to tell you. As we are stuck in the house, there are so many documentaries and there are so many feel-good videos right now. You can just put on YouTube a video, and let me actually do a short search to show you. So, waterfall relaxation video live. And look at that. Let me get back on the display. So waterfall relaxation video live. And there we go. Niagara Falls. You don't have to right? You don't have to be there to experience it. You can just put that on your TV or on your computer or whatever, where you are, and it would be like you are there. And there are tons of other videos, like of forests, of lakes, of the sea, of all kinds of stuff. There are so many YouTubers who actually go exploring and live stream it. Just go on one of those. Don't go to the channels that yes, babies laughter, cats, all kinds of stuff. There are so many zoos who have, or aquariums, or even people who have like a cat that just had kittens and they have a live feed. There are so many live feeds. Talking about traveling, there are Actually, let me give you a link. And I do that sometimes. There are a lot of live cameras all over the world. If you cannot physically visit something, for example this one, and let me get back on my display. See, EarthCam, you have live cameras on everything. So Hawaii, there we go, live. There are so many things, and it's, if you just put live cameras all over the world, and you will find a lot of live cameras that just go non-stop. So there's a lot of things that you can do to get your mind off of and to reduce the yes, exactly, if you have a treadmill or exercycle. There are a lot of things that you can do to, number one, reduce your stress, number two, find an activity that reduces your stress, and number three, as I said, you might find back your creativity. You might or might not. That's not going to be the end of the world. Just because you started with something and you don't feel like it anymore shouldn't make you feel bad about yourself. A hobby is a hobby. A hobby is something that we do because we love. When you don't love it anymore, it's not a hobby anymore. It's something, a hobby is something that you should do to bring you pleasure and enrich your life. You shouldn't regard it as a must do, some kind of constraint of work, because that defeats the purpose of a hobby. So maybe it's just time for you to do something else. Try it. I was saying I have my other thing when I don't really feel very good in a day to come here and work on clay. I might not have a day in which I don't feel very creative. I did get myself a little kit and I do felting. Because it's easy to do felting. I can just lay on the couch, and just have everything in my lap. And do that while I watch a documentary or something. There are a lot of things that can be done even if your health doesn't help it. Just don't let yourself be beaten by it. At this point in time, it's not just the elderly, it's also the youngsters who are going. I mean, you're not alone. Don't feel bad because you feel unworthy and you feel useless because you cannot do this and you cannot do this and you cannot afford this. This is life. Take it as it comes. Try to deal with it as it is, instead of longing for something that you cannot have. Enjoy what you do have. Enjoy what you can do. There's many things that we can still do. The thing is to keep ourselves away from what brings us anxiety and despair and stuff. Look for things that make you happy. Again, it doesn't matter if but I did polymer clay for 20 years. So you did. It was awesome while it lasted. Move on and find something that feels you better. It's like with a relationship. Don't stay in a relationship that is profoundly unhappy just because you've been in that relationship for 20 years. You know, you have the right to your personal happiness. It doesn't matter what others say. It's your life. You need to live it for yourself. Okay? So, getting back on, I had my, that was my pep talk. Getting back on the polymer clay. I might do a live on Monday. I'm saying I might because I don't know. It's supposed to be super, super, super hot. I mean, Monday we are starting a very serious heat wave. I mean, it's going to be, the temperatures will be like 101, 102, stuff like that. And for Oklahoma, we have a fairly high humidity, so that means we might have 106, 107. I know people in Arizona are going to say, what are you complaining about? Well, we are not in Arizona. We don't have dry heat. I was actually talking to a friend in Arizona a few days ago when we had, because right now we are ending a cooler trend, but before that we had a heat wave. I mean, we weren't the only ones. It was the whole central U.S. and the East and the West. I mean, it was, if you remember. And I was looking, in Arizona, they had like 105 temperature, but the heat index was 99. Here we had the temperature 99 and the heat index was 106 because of the humidity, and it's very, very, very different. So, as I was saying, I might do July 4th, and if I do, it will be like 10:30 Central, most likely. But it all depends on how I feel after I do my stuff outside. So that's it. Today I didn't do anything outside because I didn't want to be wiped out, and then I have in the afternoon a live with my sponsors. But just to keep you warned that you might want to look for that if I'm going to do it. So and tomorrow we are going to work with resin, and I want to show you a few different effects that you can get when making UV resin cabochons. And what can I say? Let's be all try and be together. We are a tribe after all. This is one of the things where you can find people of the same mind. Is your crafting. And another thing that I wanted to tell you, as you know, I personally don't go in many groups. I mean, I barely go in any groups because I don't, with my fatigue and stuff, I don't really have time. Because if I go in a group and somebody asks how can I do that, I feel obliged to jump in. So there's a lot of time that I would spend there. So I try to avoid, I'm kind of very carefully parceling my time. That's why I prefer to do video chats with my friends instead of phoning or texting, because while I video chat, I can do stuff. But the other thing is that what I noticed that in larger groups, there's a lot of friction. And even if the administrators try not to have that, they're not going to start commenting on how some people are so mean and some people are so evil, and they just, no. A lot of us are more edgy, are more grumpy. The fact that we've been more isolated than in person has increased the rate of things that are written are not always understood as they were meant. So, as a general idea, try to avoid groups that are too large. Try to find a small group of friends. And as I was saying in other lives before, oh God, not this guy. Yeah, you know what, dude? I heard that they have a sale on cucumbers. Maybe go get yourself. Calm down. And they keep coming back with the same thing. Anyway, so as I was saying before, it's not hard to find virtual friends with whom you can visit all the time. Most of us have smartphones, most of us have computers, most of us have tablets. I mean, if you didn't have one of those, you wouldn't be here watching me. Yeah, I know, and they keep coming back, and not only that, but I'm trying to block them, and I block them, so I think that they just make a new account and then they put the same thing. But anyway, so try to find your mini tribe. Try to create your mini tribe. It's impossible not to find people who have a few other interests besides a polymer clay. They might like cats, they might have cats, you might want to talk about cats, they might like gardening, they might do this, they might do that, they might do recipes. And again, kind of monitor what you're watching and what you're visiting online, because that can be one of the main things that affects your mental well-being. So anyway, I hope to see you all tomorrow. Don't forget to thumbs me up, and don't forget to visit my affiliate links. You can always go on my channel about to see all my information, and I'm going to post the channel link right now with the about, just for you to find it faster. And I shall see you all tomorrow at 12:30 noonish Central Daylight Time. Stay safe, stay cool if you're in a heat zone, and I wish rain for you. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye.